They're coming in low this time.
How many are there?
Too many to count.
The roar of an aircraft engine echoes across the skies. A sleek, silver silhouette cuts through the clouds with unmatched elegance, grace, and deadly power. This is no ordinary fighter plane, it is the P-51 Mustang. Nicknamed the Cadillac of the sky, the Mustang became one of the most iconic fighters of the Second World War, a symbol of freedom and a marvel of aviation design. It was a machine that redefined aerial warfare and helped tilt the balance of power in favor of the Allies. But how did this legendary aircraft come to be? And what made it so special that, even today, it continues to capture the imagination of aviation enthusiasts around the world? The story of the P-51 Mustang begins in 1940. At that time, Europe was engulfed in flames as Nazi Germany unleashed its Luftwaffe across the continent. Britain stood as the last major line of defense, but it was struggling. The Royal Air Force, though brave and determined, was losing aircraft at an alarming rate and needed reinforcements. Britain turned to the United States, requesting new fighters. The original plan was for North American Aviation, a young aircraft company, to produce P-40 Warhawks under license. But North Americans' leadership had a bold proposal. Instead of building an older design, why not create a brand new fighter from scratch, one that would surpass anything flying at the time? The challenge was immense, and the timeline was short. In just 120 days, North American engineers rolled out the first prototype of what would become the Mustang. Its initial version was powered by the Allison V1710 engine, which worked well at low altitudes but struggled at higher levels where most European dogfights occurred. Early Mustangs were used in limited roles, mostly for reconnaissance and ground attack. At this stage, few could have guessed that the Mustang would soon evolve into the Allies' ultimate weapon in the air. The turning point came when British engineers decided to experiment by fitting the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine into the Mustang's frame. This marriage of American design and British engineering was revolutionary. The Merlin V12 gave the Mustang extraordinary high-altitude performance, incredible speed, and long-range endurance. With this upgrade, the aircraft went from being promising to becoming exceptional. Suddenly, the Allies had a fighter that could escort bombers deep into enemy territory, challenge the best of the German Luftwaffe, and still return home. The design of the Mustang was as brilliant as its engine. Its airframe was made from lightweight aluminum alloys, providing both durability and agility. The wings were long and aerodynamically refined, using a laminar flow airfoil that reduced drag and allowed higher speeds and longer ranges. The cockpit offered better visibility than many of its rivals, giving pilots an edge in dogfights. Equipped with a powerful Packard-built Merlin engine, a licensed version of the Rolls-Royce design, the Mustang could generate more than 1,500 horsepower. This power translated into a top speed of 437 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest fighters of its era. But speed alone does not win wars. Range was the Mustang's greatest strength. With large internal fuel tanks and the ability to carry drop tanks under its wings, the aircraft could travel over 1,600 miles without refueling. This meant that for the first time, American bombers like the B-17 Flying Fortress and the B-24 Liberator could be escorted all the way to targets deep in Germany, including Berlin and back. The psychological impact of this capability was enormous. German fighter pilots who once preyed on unescorted bombers now faced relentless Mustang escorts that challenged their dominance. In terms of firepower, the P-51 Mustang was a deadly machine. It carried 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, each capable of firing hundreds of rounds per minute. These guns were devastating in dogfights, capable of tearing through enemy aircraft with ease. In addition, the Mustang could carry bombs or rockets, allowing it to perform ground attack missions. This versatility made it more than just a fighter. It was also an effective fighter-bomber, able to support ground troops and disrupt enemy supply lines. The Mustang's combat record speaks for itself. With a service ceiling of nearly 42,000 feet, the aircraft could outclimb and outfight most opponents. Its long range allowed it to patrol enemy skies for hours, hunting German Messerschmitt Bf-109s and Focke-Wulf Fw-190s. By the time the war ended, Mustangs had destroyed over 4,950 enemy aircraft in the air, more than any other Allied fighter in Europe. They gave the Allies the air superiority they desperately needed to launch the D-Day invasion and press the offensive against Germany. Equally important were the men who flew these machines. Pilots like Colonel Clarence Bud Anderson, who flew over 100 combat missions without being shot down, became legends. Major George Preddy, one of the Mustang's top aces, achieved 26 aerial victories before his untimely death. Then there were the Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American fighter squadron, who flew P-51 Mustangs with red-painted tails. Their courage and skill not only earned them respect but also helped pave the way for racial integration in the U.S. military. The Mustang was more than a machine, it was a symbol of bravery and progress. The psychological effect of the Mustang cannot be underestimated. For Allied bomber crews, seeing P-51 escorts form up alongside their formations meant hope and safety. For German pilots, spotting Mustangs on the horizon meant a fierce battle ahead. The Mustang disrupted German strategies, forcing the Luftwaffe to fight on the defensive. In doing so, it weakened Germany's ability to protect its skies, paving the way for the Allies' eventual victory. After World War II, the Mustang's story continued. It remained in service during the Korean War, where it was used primarily in ground attack missions. Several countries around the world, from Latin America to Asia, adopted the Mustang into their air forces. In some places, the aircraft flew in combat well into the 1960s, long after newer jet aircraft had taken over the skies. This remarkable longevity is a testament to the Mustang's effectiveness and design brilliance. Of course, the Mustang was not without its flaws. It required significant maintenance and was not always easy to handle on the ground. Its powerful engine demanded skillful control, especially during takeoff and landing. Yet in the air, these weaknesses were overshadowed by its extraordinary performance. Pilots often spoke of the Mustang with reverence, describing it as an aircraft that looked right, felt right, and flew
Today,
right. The legacy of the P-51 Mustang lives on. Restored Mustangs still fly in air shows across the world, their engines roaring like echoes of history. Aviation enthusiasts regard them as masterpieces of engineering and symbols of a time when human courage and innovation combined to shape the destiny of nations. Museums proudly display Mustangs as reminders of the sacrifices made and the victories earned during one of history's darkest chapters. But beyond the statistics and the technology, the Mustang's true legacy lies in the lives it protected and the freedom it helped secure. It was not just a fighter plane, it was a guardian angel for countless bomber crews, a nightmare for enemy pilots, and a shining example of what can be achieved when nations unite for a common cause. As the sun sets and a lone Mustang glides across the horizon, we are reminded that history is not just about machines or battles, but about the spirit of innovation and determination. The P-51 Mustang represents the triumph of courage and ingenuity, a timeless legend that continues to inspire. More than 70 years later, its silhouette in the sky still tells a story of hope, of victory, and of the day when freedom flew on silver wings.